What I want to do with you over the next hour and a bit, and then we've got a few activities later on, is just to let's just make sure, to play around with how and why you think the way you do. And it's my intention to give you introduce you to a few skills and tools and techniques for thinking differently if and when you choose to. Now, I don't know about you, but I've kind of got to the age of 40-odd, many years ago, and it dawned on me that I just kind of wake up. I wake up and I go to work, and sometimes I'm a grumpy old and sometimes I'm optimistic, and sometimes I'm confident, and sometimes I'm funny, and sometimes I'm brave, and sometimes I'm scared. Well, that's just the way I am, you know. Now, I've been married at that point for about 20 years, and clearly my wife regarded me then, as she does now, as a work in progress, full of potential, but that I clearly wasn't achieving, because, hey, I'm just me, love me as I am. You did once, why should I change? And whilst it's been a real pleasure, and I really do commend you for the achievements you've had to date, I suppose a bit of me is thinking, so what might we expect from you? I mean, hell, if you can do that in 12 months. And that's the problem, isn't it? If you do a good job, people expect more. And I'm not here to do that at all. But I just want you to play around with it a bit. And we're going to give you just a shed load of questions and a shed load of ideas about how and why you think the way you do. How many of you got kids, by the way? Oh, well, if it doesn't work for you, try it on the kids. Is that okay? So, and my bit's all about you. And I'm going to use the word I. I don't know any Rastafarians in the room, but in Rastafari, the phrase is the I and I. So I is kind of the universal term. I want you to think about you, not about the organisation or the organisations that you belong to, but just about you and the people in your lives who you would quite like it if you could change. So if you don't know how to change yourself, think about those people back at home who are works in progress, who could just do a little bit of tweaking. Is that okay? Because I'm going to give you the power. Clearly, my wife has never heard these presentations. That's there's work and there's home, obviously. And so anyway, I work in an organisation called the Spiral Partnership, and one of our programmes is called So It's Up to Me. Because at the end of the day, it is. One of the things that intrigues us is how come some people do and some people don't. How come sometimes I do and sometimes I don't? And can I work out what it is about me that I do when I'm really, really great, and I'm really on fire, and I'm really performing, so that I could be like that more of the time? Because one of the thoughts is, okay, I'm now 51. Do I want the next? I mean, I fancy living to 94. I've no idea where that number came from. But I've got my. Do I want the next 43 years to be just a bit more of this? Because clearly I'm perfect. I just carry on as I am. It seems to be working. And whilst I'm not a scientist, in the previous life I was a teacher, and my knowledge of science is based around CBeebies now because I've got a 7-year-old, so I've kind of had to dilute, or actually increase my knowledge of science. But if you get a rocket, made out of a cardboard foil tube, and on the top there's that little bit, well, the rocket leaves the Earth, and then after a little while, it kind of, on CBeebies it says, well, thank you ever so much, fuselage, but in order to get to the moon, I've got to jettison you. And all that long bit gets jettisoned, so the little bit can go to the moon, and we can have Teflon pans. Now, why do we do this? Now, I've been like me for 51 years, so I could say, well, great. Just keep as you are, and you'll achieve your dream. Or maybe I have to jettison some bits of me, some habits, some beliefs, in order to achieve my potential. It's just a thought, isn't it? Anyway, so throughout my session, I want you to think, obviously the guys will find this hard, but female colleagues, this will come easy to you, it's a sort of multitask. And just think, the constant question is how would you? I'm going to come back to your charity raising. Because when you were doing those things on the panels, and Pete's going to love this, were you thinking, how would you raise 2 million? Or were you thinking, how will we raise it? If I'd asked Geldof, or Bono, or the people who set up Facebook, would they have had the same sort of ideas as you were having? Were they nice things to do? Oh, I love doing a tabletop sale. I'll carry on doing them for the rest of my life. Or were you thinking, how would you make 2 million in 10 minutes? So I'm going to come to that question later on. How would you is a very different question to how will I. How will I is just work harder. And geez, you guys are good at that. But how would you might be profoundly different. So my subliminal easy for me to say. My subliminal question is, how would you, if you've been really serious about it, how would you change your life? How would you transform HR? How would you sort out Argos and Homebase? How would you achieve those targets if you were mad? So, absolutely, you've come a long way, and the last thing I want to do is take anything away from that. But having been in the car with my daughter on Sunday, as we went to visit my parents, and we joined the M1, and she said, "Are we there yet?" And I said, "No, just 2 more roundabouts heading towards Carlisle." Now, you know, it's like when you've got kids, they always want to, and when you've got kids in the back of the car, what do you say? "No, but we've come a long way, we've left the estate. You know, think of the progress so far. Rejoice. Let's stop and have a celebration at McDonald's." Or do you say, "No, only 4 more hours to go," which is 27 CBeebies programs. You know, what units of time do you use with your kids? But actually what you do is, when we get there, first of all you have to kiss Nana, but after that, we can have a really lovely time, and you can choose your bed, we'll have an ice cream, Nana's made beans, or whatever it might be, and you try and sell getting there. Won't it be lovely when we get there? And I want you to think about, where are you going to? I mean, how many of you have been away on holiday recently? In the last 10 years? This is the audience participation bit, okay? Help me out on this one, all right? Okay. Because otherwise it's going to get really bad. All right. If you think about going away on a holiday, let's say for a fortnight, I reckon it takes about 24 hours of planning, doesn't it? You know, kind of deciding where you're going to go, maybe getting currency, maybe booking tickets. If anything like our house, digging out the rather crusty and solid clothing from last year's holiday, which never actually got to the top of the ironing pile, re-washing it in order that you can iron it, packing it back. I reckon it takes about 24 hours to plan for a holiday. And you go away for a fortnight, and you come back, and 2 weeks later, it's like, what holiday? Now, if you're prepared to put 24 hours into a fortnight's holiday, the benefit of which evaporates quite quickly, how much time might we put in the rest of our lives, or the rest of this business? I mean, is this a day out or a day in? Are you on a jolly? Or is this a day in on the future of your organisation? And it's really, isn't it? Alan Layton, who is the CEO of numerous companies, was as Daniel mentioned as before, still takes a day a week off to think, because that's his job. When do you do your thinking about you? In the shower? On the loo? In the car on the way home? When do you actually think about you? Well, you've got 90 minutes, so that'll sort it, won't it? All right? Have you come across this book? I mean, I spent my life talking at organisation events, and you're lucky. Quite often you get given this book as a real treat. If you go to Smith's, you'll find shed loads of them. And I hope Jim Collins makes money out of it, because I sure as hell do. And what I find interesting about it is, the analogy is, are you on the bus? It's like a script from The Office that didn't quite make the final series. I mean, are you on the bus about where we're going? Is it time you got off the bus? Now, whatever. I'm kind of intrigued by the title, because having already made reference to my amazing wife, clearly she still believes that I have the potential to be a great husband. But you know what? Frankly, excuse my language, I can't be asked. She seems happy enough as it is. I mean, I've had a nice text this morning. She very kindly ironed this shirt for me, and we hold hands in public, and she seems happy as it is. Why bother being great? I mean, if a younger model starts to come on the scene, maybe I'll spruce my act up. But frankly, I can't be asked to be great. This will do. You know what I mean? Valentine's Day is coming up. A carbon paper chase. I'm easily bought. Can you be bothered to be great? Do you fancy? I mean, or is that just deeply offensive? Have I gone terribly American all of a sudden? Which is remarkable, bearing in mind I come from Basildon. But what about being great for the sake of other people around you? What about being the greatest? Well, one of the things I noticed from your presentation this morning is a lot of your references are to be better than somebody. Well, I could do with losing a bit of weight, but I'm always managing to find somebody who's fatter than me. So then, not so bad. I don't feel very fit, but then I walk up the stairs and say, yes, still talking and walking upstairs. So what's your reference point? Because I'll always find somebody fatter than me, unfitter than me, worse than me. I mean, let's call them B and Q, or whatever it might be. Or am I going to reference myself to the journey travelled? Those of you who are about to go into 3 Peaks, you'll come to a point when you get to a certain age when you say, oh, God, we've come a long way. I should get your breath back. Then you think, bloody hell, where's the car? Because all that matters is that bit. So are we going to reference ourselves against those people we've passed on the way, or are we going to reference ourselves where I've got the potential to go? So, are you bothered? Are you really? Because I've actually read that one. I've got that one. Hang on. I read the first page and the last page. They die in the end. But are you actually bothered to be as great as you have the potential to be? Or having worked so hard, do you just want to rest for a couple of years? Don't listen, Jane. And whose idea of brilliant is it? Because this morning I heard a lot of have-tos, need-tos. And that amazing video of in China, in India. And part of me is really motivated, but part of me thinks is, hell, I'll give up now. Sod 94, I'll finish at 52. What's the impact? Is it a have-to? What's your motivation? We'll come on to that later on as well. So, who cares? To be really, really rude, who cares how far you've come? And I don't mean to be I'm meant to be the motivational guy. I don't mean knocking you down, but frankly, who cares? Do you actually care how far you've come? When you were a student, when you were a kid at school, what was your motivation? Were you motivated by what you're going to achieve, or were you just, oh, thank God I've not been told off yet? Right? Okay. So I just want you to play around with what you're motivated by. You see, I'm not a Catholic. Anybody in the room a Catholic? I used to say anybody in the room a good Catholic, but apparently that's impossible. So, the story told to me by a very dear Catholic friend. They said he was brought up as not in pursuit of heaven. So, no, be good. Not so that you get to heaven, but be good in order that you don't go to hell. And let me tell you what hell is like, just to make it absolutely clear in your minds that you don't want to go there. And how many of you were brought up that way? Not to get caught, to get away with it, to just get past the point. How many of you aimed for an A, and how many of you thought, C, that'll do? I'll go clubbing. Now, I'm not here to say that one's better than the other, but just think about driving. Those of you that are about to whiz around the Three Peaks, and those of you, on the motorway, I do 80, 85. I don't do 90 because I figure I might get banned after 90 and I could do that. But outside of school, I do 20. Outside of school, I'm motivated by the benefits of driving at 20. On the motorway, I think 70 dead, 80 dead, 90 dead. I just don't want to lose my licence. So they're different motivations. So we're not all this or all that. I just really think, do you want to get good because otherwise, we might do restructuring and you might lose your job? Is that the reason for working hard? Or is the reason for working profoundly because you want to achieve something amazing? And do you know the people that you're working with, what their motivation is? So, leave that thought with you. We'll move on. There's loads of these. Have a chat at your table then. Go on. These are your team members. Say hello. You might not recognise each other. This is the team. This is the solution to all the problems that you know about. Okay? As a West Ham supporter, I know how that feels. Look at your team. All right? Just on your table, just for 2 minutes, just have a chat. Are you a pursuer of heaven, or are you fleer of the flames of hell, licking at your rear end? Now, obviously, the truth is that we're both a bit of both, yeah? But some of us are predominantly more one than the other. Affects how you see life, isn't it? Okay, and just think about that as an organisation. What has been the journey of the last 2 years? Has it been about getting away from a position, or has it been in the pursuit of a position? Those of you that are about to do your pounds for pounds, are you keeping under a certain weight, or are you aiming for a certain weight? If you're going to look under, an ounce will do. I'm 1 ounce under that weight, past the Belgian bum. But if you're aiming for, get behind me, Belgian bum. All right? So it's interesting. I don't know, we'll play around with that later on if you've got time. Anybody here old enough to remember How on TV? Really? No. Okay. Just look at the colleagues on your table who are pretending not to be old enough to remember How. Okay. Because, there's aspirational and there's delusional. Can anyone do it for me? Anyone remember how to do it? Oh, I'll tell you what. All right. Everybody stand up. Find a partner. Give them the How sign. All right, there you go. Oh, stop pretending you have no idea what to do. Right, go on. Now then, very, very carefully, all right, bear in mind what I mean by the word carefully, just touch hands with the person you're doing How to, and one of you start to push. Gently, then increase the pressure. Increase the pressure, bit firmer, All right, and sit down. Now then, now you know why we've got the video. Because that will be streamed live on the internet later on. And you've all joined the zone. They already think HR's nutters, but now you belong to a sect as well. Is that okay? So you'll be getting sandals and robes dispatched on the way out. Now then, basically, when you pushed, what did the other person do? And they're amazing. And I didn't say push back, you know. I thought HR, being pussycats, you're going, oh, whatever, you know. But you didn't. We tend to push back. Why is that? You know, a bit like with the losing weight. Well, I'm all right. It's fatter than me. I have to. And what I heard this morning was a lot of have tos. We need to. And the bit of me was thinking, no, I don't. I'm on your visitor. No, I don't. I'm retiring in 14 years. No, I don't. My department's all right. Who says? Back off. It's engineer. I have to lose weight. No, you don't. Imagine being brought up in life with the no have tos. What would that feel like? Because actually, I put it to you, there are no have tos. In fact, we brought our daughter up that, which is troublesome, because the other night I said, you have to go to bed. And I said, no, Daddy, there are no have tos. You don't have to. Leave. Go and work for B&Q. It's a doddle there. Go and work for Amazon. Apparently they've got it sussed. Pinch the best ideas. Come back. We'll call you a consultant. Get twice the salary. No. That's just a night. It wasn't serious, okay? That's not, I'm not here to get that going. All right. When pushed, we push back. What's it like in your house? I mean, I'm a bit of a key rattler. When it's time to go, I think somehow writing the key to my wife and daughter will hasten them. After 20 years, you might have thought that doesn't. I realise it doesn't work. So I'll be at the door. I'll rattle my keys, and listen. My wife says, "Oh, won't be a minute. Just change my cardigan." Because I'm pushing her. Quite rightly, she pushes back. And how many of you subconsciously have been pushing back today because but I don't want to. I don't have to. Right? So I want you to think about how, as leaders, both leading myself to be the person I've got the potential to be, and to leading others, how do I make it not a have to? And how do I do it in such a way that they don't push back? Anybody here do Tai Chi? Apparently, clearly I don't. But apparently, when you've got some big hunk who wants to kill you, you don't sort of stay in their way. You just use their weight and you flip them over. So if I try and resist, I'll always find someone bigger to flatten me. But if I use their weight, I can flip them over. How do we use the movement of people in your organisation? Say, go on then, keep running. And how do we stop that pushback? And throughout this afternoon, you're going to push back to what I say, and that's okay. But I want you to think about, why are you pushing back to what I say? Why did we push back to the stuff this morning? Why did we push back? Why do I push back on good advice when I know it might save my life? Why do I ignore the 70-mile-an-hour limit? It's there for a good reason. They're not having a laugh. They thought, choose number, 70. But I push back. I say, I'm all right, I'm a good driver. I've got a good car, it's 4-wheel drive. I can do 90, clearly. You see what I mean? Okay, right, moving on. When pushed, we push back. I want you to think about, what's your motivation to change? Are you fleeing the flames of hell? Are you pushing back? Are you running forwards? And what about the people on your table in your team? And what do the targets do to you? Do the targets motivate and inspire you? Or the targets just think, oh my God, I may as well go home now. I'm out. Silly, not one for me. And this notion that I have this belief that it's just the way I am. I can't change. How many of you have changed profoundly? And my father-in-law moved to live near us. I live in Harrogate. Anyone been to Harrogate? One of the reasons why I moved to Harrogate was to be closer to us, apparently, and to be closer to Betty's, the tea rooms. You know, yeah, okay. The home of the great cake. And Bob, Alison's father, is a connoisseur of the cake. Within 18 months of arriving in Harrogate, he was diagnosed with old man's diabetes. Well, life sucks. Went to the doctors, as you would, most days, for a period of time. And he said, Doctor, can I control it, my diet? Can I just carry on as I am, you know? Eat a few less cakes. The doctor said, well, you've got a choice. You can either eat cakes or enjoy your granddaughter. You cannot get a cake near the guy's mouth now because he chooses his granddaughter. So it's not that you're having to resist cakes, he's pursuing a life with his granddaughter. And many of you will have changed profoundly. And this psychology that I'm sharing with you, you know, psychology is just about the brain, and you've all got one. Some of us have hardly used ours. So they're still pristine. You've already learned through life that sometimes you've pursued things with such relish that it's been easy, and at other times you resist profoundly. So how can we use this knowledge to transform our organisation and at least be self-aware of what's going on in my head? I may not be able to change you in 90 minutes, but I can give you some tools that will powerfully change your lives if you want to use them. It's up to you. I can't make it, so I have to. And in all sorts of ways, I'm not changed. Now, there you go. There's a psychological concept called cognitive dissonance. Now, I can tell you're all really, really interested. But you'll know this one. Anyone here decorating at the moment? Or about to decorate? Or trying to persuade somebody at home to decorate? I know a great shop you can go to for all your needs. I've brought into the message, clearly. I've only been here. Right. Now, in the morning, I suffer cognitive dissonance most mornings. I go into the bathroom, and rather like you now, I look in the mirror and I see George's better-looking younger brother staring right back at me. It's uncanny. And I said, not bad, Pete, not bad. But then, as the mist slowly evaporates, I see me. And I see the epiglottis that used to scare people. I see the chin, which I like to think is Romanesque, but it's more Forsyth. I see the pock marks from adolescent acne. I don't know why, but you go over 40, I've got 2 hairs in my chest, I've given them names, now I've got 12 in my bloody ears. I mean, how does that happen? And obviously you understand. I see the receding hairline. I see the, oh God, where can I look? I see the receding hairline. But no grey. And I just think, geez, you're ugly, Pete. You really ought to leave the room with a bag over your head. Now, when I used to tell this story, I used to pause for someone to protest, but in 7 years, nobody has. I'm going to rattle on. Now, whilst I'm going through this which one am I kind of thing, my amazing, adorable, incredible wife will walk into the bathroom. Now, okay, she's never said I'm better looking than George Clooney, but I can tell she's thinking it. And bless her, on a certain day of the year, in a certain light, mainly out of sympathy, she finds me attractive. But I ignore her view of me, and I leave the bathroom knowing that really I should wear a bag over my head. I am experiencing cognitive dissonance. Because cognitive dissonance is the belief that you cannot, is the theorem that you cannot hold 2 beliefs and give them equal value. You have to find evidence to support one or the other. Anybody here can't sing and you haven't got to prove it? Okay. Well, I can't either, but Alison's Welsh, so obviously she has to be able to sing. That's the belief. So we'll be in the kitchen, we'll be singing Bananarama's greatest hits. We went to see them the other day. There's only 2 of them now, Banar. Rama's left, which is a kind of it's true. And I was singing away with her, doing a few moves that used to impress her when I was a student. And she was, singing away, and she'd look at me as if to say, see, you can sing. And it comes back into my, my voice goes crazy. You know how that feels? When someone brings it to your attention, you can't, because I can't sing. So I might pretend I can sing for a while. It may even appear that I can, but after a while. Any of you feel like you're winging it at work? Right. So, okay. Yeah, but if we're going to move on, guys, we have to be honest, okay? So I used to be a teacher, and in those days, before we had exams, the biggest concern was losing the scissors. And if we lost scissors at playtime, it was a crisis. So you used to say, right, everybody close your eyes. And if you know where the scissors are, put up your hand in our no-blame culture, and I'll do you at lunchtime. So, everybody close their eyes. And if you think you're winging it at work sometimes, put up your hand. Thank you. Jane, that one there. Okay. Right. What 2 pictures have we got of our organisation? What 2 pictures have you got of you? Because I heard lots of celebratory stuff this morning. And some of you are thinking, it's not that good. I don't know who wrote that. That was our mum. Well, as long as the boss thinks he's that good, I'm happy. One of the tensions is that we have these various pictures given to us of us. Many of you will be loved by people in your family, but many of you will not love yourself. Many of you will be told how great you are, but you won't believe it. You're just saying that. You're just being nice. And we push it away, rather like I push away my wife's feedback in the bathroom. Which picture are we going to adopt? And which picture are we going to believe in? Let's think about the decorating one. A few Sundays back, I was reading the paper, and Alison was reading the supplement, and she went, isn't that a lovely picture of a dining room? Words which I recognise, but don't really understand. So I carried on reading the sports pages. I'm a bloke. A few pages, she says, isn't that a lovely dining room table? I said, oh, that's lovely. Look at those curtains. They would look lovely in here. Now, clearly, leadership in my house has got a vision of the future. We've been on the away day, and she's given me a vision of the future, which is a decorated dining room. But I didn't really buy into it. So I said, I like it as it is. But what's interesting is that since she said that, I've noticed one or two things in our dining room which aren't exactly perfect. You know, a mark here, a scuff there. Well, a lot, actually. And I'm slowly buying into Alison's picture that we need to decorate. You ever done that? I thought the dining room was fine until she's put that idea in my head. Now, this morning, some ideas were put into your head. Some of us were pushed back. Some of us were bought into them. Some of us own the ideas. How do we buy into that vision so powerfully that, like my father-in-law, we don't even see cakes anymore because I'm there. I'm there already. Okay. You see, throughout life, there are these tensions, aren't there? I want you to imagine that this is me, this is you. Not really an elastic band, just a bit of rubber at the moment. It's only elastic band when it does that. Yeah? With me? Okay. How about you? This would be called your comfort zone. I'm all right. Life's all right. I work hard, I get paid. We're hitting targets. It's all right. Good will do. And maybe this morning one or two of us felt a bit stretched. Now the great thing about being stretched is it puts energy in. So if we go back to those few Sundays ago, and leadership in my house starts talking about a vision for the future of the dining room, I certainly felt a bit stretched. And I want you to imagine, we've got two magnets here, but imagine it was two nails. And one nail was being banged up there about how lovely it would be, and the marvellous dinner parties we could have, and the whole new set of friends we'll clearly get because we decorated the dining room. And the staff down here. And immediately staff say, it's not on the plan. Yeah. We weren't going to do the dining room this year, darling. And then, also second one, we haven't saved for it. I like it as it is. I thought you liked Magnolia. What's the point of decorating? We've got a 7-year-old who still thinks it's appropriate to ride a bike around the table, so we've got a red mark all around. We've got a dog who hasn't learnt the word sit yet, but she's learnt one similar. It's only a puppy, but she'll learn. So all the time I'm trying to say, let's not move. And every time I have a reason for not doing it, of course the leadership will say, oh, well, it would be, have an answer. We haven't got the money. Well, my friend Sarah's husband's decorator. He hasn't got much work at the moment. Oh. Think of the chaos. I thought we could go and visit your mother, which wasn't a great idea. But every time I try to do this, Alison says that. Last Saturday I was in town and I saw several things that I thought would look nice in our dining room, and I think it's my idea to decorate. That's how clever you are. Worryingly, on Friday, she got out the local paper and went, that's a nice house. Now leadership is always moving on to the next hurdle. And you know how this works because many of you, let's say the women in this room, particularly know how that works. So if we can do that at home, what can we do at work if we emphasise on this? Now the problem is that you're such nice people because you're HR. And you're people. I know. And one of the problems is that you're so damned empathetic. Like I need empathy. Do you think my wife is remotely empathetic about my desire not to decorate? Is she hell? Now what I want you to think about here is every time someone is saying, I want to stay here, if you go, oh, I know, and you put the arm around and you go all cuddly and soft, what you're doing is you're saying, yeah, let's stay here. Whereas if the kid's in the car, you say, oh, yeah, but when we get there, it'll be lovely. We can go in the pool. We can have chips. With the kids, you don't say, oh, I know. You did so well coming off the estate. You say... So the psychology of leadership of yourself and of this business is just exactly the same. Whatever put me do for? Is exactly the same. Whatever put me do for? Thank you. I'll come on to what we see and what we don't see later on. It's exactly the same as taking kids in the back of the car. There's no rocket science to this psychology, okay? It's just what people do all the time. And I just want you to do what you do best all the time. Because when you do what you do best, you're amazing. And every single person on this table would have, if we had time, would have a story to tell which would blow away the people on the table. When that bit of video of those young kids with cancer, and I was just in bits. I mean, who am I? Who am I compared to those young people? But everybody on this table's got a story. They've overcome something. Because they did what they did best. How can we do that at work? Now then, I believe a couple of years ago, you did a 2 pictures exercise, Well, you drew a picture of how it was now, and a picture of how, obviously, most of you weren't here, and a picture of what you'd like it to be. So just get a paper, and we'll just have a few minutes on this, and just have a bit of fun with it. Just get a piece of paper and fold it in half. Oh, it's like how all over again. Get a bit of paper and fold it in half. I want you to think about something in your personal life that you're working on. It may be the dining room, it may be the rockery, it may be your waistline, it may be relationships with your mother-in-law, it might be cleaning the attic. It's completely and utterly confidential. But these are the rules. You cannot use any words. I'll help you with it, all right? So I want you to take one half of the paper and just think about this area in your life that you're working on at the moment, something that's playing on your mind, something that isn't quite fixed, isn't quite right, something that you want to be a bit different to how it is at the moment. But you can't use any words, all right? I just want you to, I'm going to say draw a picture, but draw a diagram, draw shapes, draw pictures. It could be purely diagrammatic. Doesn't matter, no one else is going to look at it, just you. And even if anyone peeps, it'll make no sense to them. All right? Just begin to draw out what it's like at the moment. So who's involved at the moment? Who are the people who are involved in this project? Or what's the state at the moment? What's the confusion like? What's happening at the moment? What's not happening at the moment? Are there any connections between these bits and pieces? What's okay about it? What's already there? Just begin to draw these things out. I'll help you with it. It's all right. Some will find it easier than others, but that's because you've got beliefs about drawing. Who was told they can't draw? And you still believe it, but you can. This is just for you. So what's happening at the moment in this situation? Just sketch out what's already there. What have you already got on this picture? Who's involved? Are the things in your picture connected or disconnected? Is there any lines of connection between them? Is there a history to your picture? Did something happen before that caused this rockery to be in the state it's in? What's happened in the past which causes the relationship with your mother-in-law to be like this? Can you draw that out in some way? Try not to use any words, just try and spec it out visually. How do you feel? Can you put some emotion on it? Maybe a grumpy face or a happy face or a worried face? Is there part of this problem? You know there's something there but you're not quite sure what it is. Is that a black box? Or is it behind a fence? Or how would you visually represent that part of the project? What can't happen because of this problem at the moment? What's not happening?
It's too much to write down.
No, it's not. No, it's just pictures. I'm just firing away. Just firing away. You ignore most.
You're only here to have us for.
Oh, no, ignore the bits. That's why I'm going fast. Ignore the bits you don't want to use. All right. Who are the people who can't be involved at the moment? Who's standing outside this picture because of what's happening? Or what's standing outside the picture? All right. I'll give you another half a minute just to put some more detail on that. And if it would help now, maybe just put a speech bubble or a thought bubble or a signpost or a map or a sign that just gives a little bit of narrative which helps make this picture complete. I'm whizzing through it really fast. We can do it again another time in more detail if you want. I'm just giving you a technique that you might want to use in the future, okay? Just give a bit more detail. It has to make sense to nobody other than you. And then sit back from the picture and have a look at it again and say, have I missed anything out? Depends how honest you want to be. Now take the other half of the piece of paper. And I want to imagine yourself sometime in the future. Now if it's a rockery, maybe the appropriate time in the future is May. If it's a relationship with your mother-in-law now lives in Australia, it may be 2 or 3 years' time. You've got to work out for yourself what would be a reasonable length of time. And I want you to leap into that place and now draw a picture that is utterly and sublimely perfect. It is ridiculously ideal. What would it look like now? What's happening now? Be as burlesque and as bizarre as you want to be with it. Just go for it. What would be utterly, utterly, utterly brilliant? What would be more than you would normally dare dream of? What would be bizarrely perfect? What would be the connections now between these various elements? What would be the emotions now? What's occurring now because it is so sublimely perfect? What's able to happen now because you've got this completely sorted? Are there some people or some things no longer in the picture? They've gone. Are there new people or new things in the picture because it's now possible? Just rattle it off in your own way using your own representations. What's going to happen tomorrow in this picture because it's so perfect? What's possible now in this new place? And again, if you wish to now, maybe just a bit of narrative or a signpost or a speech bubble, just to add a bit more clarity on this second picture. So it is as vivid and is as complete and is as rigorous as it could possibly be. Okay. And now, almost simultaneously, I want you to look at the two pictures side by side. Which is the most attractive? Which is the most magnetic? Which is the one where you feel you belong? Which feels the most honest? Because what I would suggest you do is either work on these a bit more or hide them away somewhere when you get home. Tuck them away. If your second picture is more vivid and more compelling than your first picture, it is highly likely that within your time frame you will have realised it. If your first picture is more compelling, more vivid, more accurate, more real than your second picture, see you here next year, because you'll probably still be in the same place. Psychologically speaking, we go in the direction of the dominant image. Anybody here drive or ride a bike? Yeah? Okay. Let's imagine you go home the same route most days. No doubt at this time of year there will be a pothole on your journey. And you will lock onto it with your eyes, and deep down you're thinking, could do with avoiding that. And you stare at it so intently that every night you go over it. Ever see a kid on a bike and there's a rock on the path or a big stone? Deep down they're thinking, I need to avoid that, but they stare at it so much they hit it and they fall over. We go in the direction of the dominant image. Don't put your hands up. Anybody here a yo-yo dieter? You can't decide which is the real you. Lardy, slimmy. Lardy, slimmy. But when you lock onto one, you'll deliver it. The psychology behind dieting will be known to many of us. And I want you to think about organisationally, which is the dominant picture? What do you spend most time talking about? Do you spend most time talking about what it's going to be like, or what the problem is? I work with another organisation, about the same size as yours, said, we'll always find the time and the money to respond to a cock-up. But we won't find the time and the money to make tomorrow happen better. How much time is spent incrementally managing a small improvement on yesterday, and how much time is spent on making tomorrow happen? In your own life as well. How much time do we spend managing today, as opposed to thinking, where was it we were going to go in our lives? How much time would it be worth putting into that? You put 24 hours into a holiday. When did you last speak to your loved ones? I don't know about you, but most of my conversation now is the light needs doing, because I'm tall. The bins need doing. It's your mother's birthday. I've got a card. And a lot of our conversation is quite procedural. It's about managing our life. But when we were courting, it was about this and this and this. And now we do the bin bags and go to Sainsbury's and Homebase and Argos. One of the tricks that you're missing, by the way, is that the Argos catalogue taught my daughter to read. So I think we can get some work going with you in schools. It'd be really helpful. And maths. But she has asked me, actually, seriously, she has like, why is everything 99p? Why don't you just round it up? Anyway, moving on. There's 2 million quid. Right. On the next slide, I just want you to stare at the dot for about 20 seconds, okay? There you go. Just stare at that dot as intently as you can. Really focus on the dot. Keep going. Keep going. Just focus on the dot. Is that a colour picture or a black and white picture? Was it colour to begin with? Okay, just try again. Focus on the dot as intently as you can. It's not helped by the lights in the room, I appreciate that. Just really focus on it as intently as you can. Really focus. It's a black and white picture. It always was, and it always will be. You put the colour on it. And basically what was happening was, psychologically, you were saying, that looks a bit like a rainbow. And you were going to that part of your brain where the colours are, and you're going, no, Richard of York gave battle in vain. Where's the vein? So you think, I was at school once, I had a plastic ruler, and I was doing this, and I saw that, no, it's not. So you were locating all your thoughts in this bit where, because your eyes only pick up light, your brain translates it, your brain tells you what you're seeing, and your brain was going in that colour part, and as soon as I flicked over to the picture, you put the colour on the picture. And slowly your brain was going, your eyes were going, no, it's black and white. Your brain was going, black and white, it's colour, black and white, colour. And slowly it merged from one to the other. And this is the problem. You come away on an away day, and we talk the big talk, and you know what will happen? Tomorrow you'll go back and you switch on your inbox, and you start dealing with yesterday's guff. And all that colourful picture about how glorious it could be and that Amazon was eating dirt would just evaporate away. How do we keep it alive in our minds? How much time are you going to put in on you, your dreams and our aspirations? And how do we organise our systems and our processes to make the dream come true as opposed to making yesterday marginally better? Are you a managerful organisation or are you a leaderful organisation? We celebrate Christmas, apparently, in our house. We manage Christmas. How about you? Or do you lead on it? We manage it. I drive around the country dropping off presents to ungrateful nieces and nephews I haven't seen since last year. This year they got an iTunes voucher. Last year it was a Gap voucher. I get home to find that apparently we've invited 4 or 5 people to have Christmas Day with us. How kind. We should really be in HR. Because otherwise, they would be on their own at Christmas. And do you know why they'd be on their own? Because they are intensely boring. But apparently, we've invited them to us. Not only are they intensely boring, but one of them has only come to stay because they want to go into a Boxing Day marathon, a half marathon. So can I have pasta? No, it's Christmas dinner. You have sprouts. Another one's a vegan. Nothing wrong with that. Have the sprouts. Have mine. I don't like them. One's diabetic. But it's a complicated meal. So Alison, who's in charge of the Christmas meal in our house, says, so I thought we'd do a buffet. So now I don't get my Christmas meal because we're having a buffet. It's complicated, so I opt out. I thought, I know what I'll do. I'll offer the drinks afterwards. I said, tea or coffee? Is it decaffeinated? Earl Grey, mint, rosehip, skimmed, semi, brown, white sugar. I've got my own. Bleep. Even giving a cup of tea is complicated. So no, it's either tea or coffee, instant. Or Yorkshire. I live in Harrogate. Life has become so complicated, we just manage it. And I was using this story just a few weeks back in Halifax. And the woman said, oh no, I led on Christmas this year. So I thought, hang on, listen up, Pete. She said, I went to Bali. But I had to leave my mother to have Christmas on her own. Are you prepared to lead and therefore leave something behind? Or are you going to try and manage everything and keep it all just going? What are we doing as an HR department? Being all things to all people, keeping everything going, serving them because I was born to serve? Or are we going to lead this organisation dramatically and transformationally into the future? Or is that somebody else's job? That's the commercial department, clearly. Who, if not you? Hell, you're the people. Home-based in Argos, it's only people. It's people what makes the difference, stupid. You. If not you, who? Now, it wouldn't be a presentation without at least one slide with way too much animation, so this is my contribution to that competition. This is me, this is you, this is your department, this is the group in its harbour. Not really a ship in a harbour, only a floating department. It's only a ship when it comes out. And no doubt you've got your business plan or your corporate, no doubt you've got several plans, I suspect. You've probably got more plans in the planning department. But imagine this on the personal level. This is me. This is my dreams of 2.3 children in a gîte in France and a soft top. All right? Well, it might be. Okay. And you've set off on your journey. We're 2 years in. Now, as a nation, I think we're a nation full of managers. David said about a nation full of shopkeepers, or was it Peter maybe? I think we're a nation full of managers, because our language is full of managers speak. How are you? We've had to batten down the hatches. We've had to reef in the sails a bit this year. We've lost no one overboard on the new initiative. It's interesting. All this management speak about coping. And the problem is that when you get out there, there are winds of change, aren't there? There's all sorts of pressures on you. So if this is in your personal life and you're en route to your gîte, all of a sudden you find, oh, it's O-level year, nobody breathe. Or, well, of course we would go to France, but my mother's getting on. So we've had to abandon that plan. Because clearly we couldn't look after her if we were in a gîte in France. We couldn't go to France now because they clearly have no good schools. Or, well, we would do that this year, but we've got to get a new boiler. Well, we would do, but we've got nice neighbours. So we'll just stay where we are and we'll give up on our dreams. Now, I'm no sailor. If I'm going on this direction and I see a head-on wind, I think, sod this, I'm going back home. It's windy out there. But a good sailor, anybody here a sailor? A good sailor can use this head-on wind to go just as fast as a tailwind. What are the pressures in your life that you've locked onto that have stopped you going after this? What beliefs have you got? I'm too old now. People like me don't do that. We're only HR. We'll wait for the board to decide that one because the big boys and girls always decide. What beliefs have you got? And how many of you are trying desperately to tack a way through the morass of initiatives and plans and problems and in-laws and boilers and flat roofs and to try and get there? How many of you, a little bit more, wow, you think, get me? Look at me. Oh, yes. And how many of you are right out there? Now, it's not a race. But if you want to get there as a department, if you want to get there as a group, how would you get there? Would you faff around with all this, or would you nip around the outside? Well, what, Facebook is 6 years old? I do a lot of work around the world. I'm very fortunate. I was in Pakistan just, 2 weeks ago? Yeah. And in Pakistan, they had 10% of people had landlines. 95% have now got mobile phones. They haven't bothered putting up telegraph poles and laying down copper wire. They've leapt to the future. In South Korea, where I also do some work, you're closer to broadband than you are tarmac. Why bother with the roads? Work from home. And one of the problems is that I've got 51 years of history to drag with me because clearly I'm successful, so I better just carry on being me. Or am I going to leap to the future? And if I want to live to 94, stop eating buns now. What are you going to do as an HR department? Carry all this that's kept made us good, or say, where do you want to go? How would you get there? You choose. It's your life. Later on this afternoon, we'll ask you what those pressures are in your organisation. What's stopping us? What gets in the way? Leaders are the people who can complete the sentence that starts with the word so. So what are we going to do? How are we going to use that? How could you use Amazon? I don't know. Doing some work with Barclays, I shouldn't tell you, Barclays is another organisation, who are competitors, but they share a mortgage processing plant, because they can both make money out of that. They're in bed with their enemy in order to make profit. How would you? I don't know. I'm not in your business. And can we start to identify what these are? Because I don't know about you, but I'm fed up with people in my life saying there's a problem. You remember? In my previous leadership role, I remember staff would say, Pete, there's a problem. I said, well, only one? I can think of 5,000. Now make it 5,001. You've just walked in. Give me a solution. Because I'm tired of always thinking of them. Why should it be me? Who are you waiting for to decide what to do? Or would it be you? Okay. And are you prepared to do whatever it takes? Because I appreciate you getting tired. Just put your left hand up as high as you can. This is just a test, there's a left hand. Okay? You can do it higher? Oh, bless you, made a noise. Oh, I know. It comes to us all. Higher. 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 All right, we'll stop. Thank you. Okay, so you've been on the course before. Now, what's interesting is that you get that buttock moment when you... Well, first of all, the first bit is somebody says, oh, if I make a noise, he'll think, I'll convince Peter I'm trying really hard. He went, Thank you for that. And then one or two of you were saying, all right, I know the game. I'll lift a buttock in a pathetic gesture of intent. And then there's a bit of going, I'll get up if you'll get up. Go on. And then we get up. Are you prepared to do what's right? Because in polite society, after lunch, you think, oh my God, am I sweating? Is it you or is it me? Oh, it's me. Are you prepared to do whatever it takes? Those of you with kids, I come to parenthood very late in life. There isn't anything you wouldn't do for your kids, is there? You'd break the law. You'd lie. You'd cheat. Maybe. I don't know. What are you prepared to do to make this great? Lie and cheat? No. What are you prepared to do? Are you prepared to look stupid? Are you prepared to look odd? Or should I just carry on doing what everybody does because I'm a team player? We'll just go wrong together, but we'll be together as a team. What are you prepared to do? I don't know. What are you prepared to do to make your dreams come true? Look a bit daft? Wear a ponytail? Anyway, whatever it might be. What's happened over the years is that people have put ideas in your head, and mine, systematically, sometimes unintentionally. I'm going to suggest here that we're born with empty brain. I know we're not, but just go with the theory behind it. And over a period of time, I've developed a belief. So, last Friday, when I'm meeting with some of your colleagues, I said, what's the dress code? Because I have a belief when I'm doing this, I should wear a tie. Way outside my comfort zone today, hanging loose without a tie. Because I was brought up to wear a tie. My father's Victorian. I went to my nephew's 21st birthday a while ago. I wasn't wearing a tie because I was hanging loose. But I had a shirt on. He said, oh, Uncle Pete, take your shirt tails out. I thought, I'm not wearing shorts, it's not the beach. But anyway, okay, I'll hang loose. I can wrap the fish with this. So I took my shirt tails out. 3 minutes later, guess what happened? Because I know me. Because I was brought up, tuck your shirt tails in. That's how you dress smartly. Ready for a party. Is there any other way? And you know, my wife has a belief that she can't wear 3/4 length sleeves. Now, where the hell does that one come from? So I'm traipsing around Marx's and Hobbs and Laura Ashley one Saturday afternoon thinking it's nearly results time. So I've adopted this sort of, I like it, love, whatever. It doesn't matter how much it costs, just buy it because I just buy it. And she says, oh, I can't have this one. It's got 3/4 length sleeves. And I went, you what? And she's 45 and it's hugely intelligent. So I said, what do you mean you can't wear it? You've got nice wrists. They're like the well-known manager. She said, oh, I can't. I said, what do you mean you can't? She said, well, I wore one once. Oh, here we go. Time's gone. I said, what? She said, I was a bridesmaid. I said, yes. She said, it was petrol green. Yes. She said, it had 3/4 length sleeves. Yes. I looked dreadful. I can't wear 3/4. And back on the rail it went. I said, Alison, you're 45, love. It's not even petrol green. But deep down, she wears it once. She has a belief evermore. And some of you will have that. I mean, some of the guys still think it's appropriate to wear what you're wearing. And it wasn't ever appropriate to wear what you're wearing, guys. I can't sing. I can't draw. These beliefs that I've got. How many of you were brought up to believe you were good at something? I was brought up to believe I was good with kids. What a lie that was. I asked my parents the other day, I said, where did that come from? She said, we were ironing at my Auntie Alan and my Uncle Alan. She said, we were there one Saturday night. We were sitting at the dinner table, and the conversation was getting a bit raucous. It wasn't appropriate for me to be there. So they said, Pete, go and look after Sarah and Lucy, Uncle Alan's 2 children, next door. You're good with children. Certainly will, then, because I'm good with children. Off I went, looked after them, became a damn teacher. Became a head teacher. 3 years ago, my parents' golden wedding. I thought, I know, we'll have a big dinner, we'll invite all the relations at my tree, nice hotel, blah, blah, blah. The children come, the grandchildren, the great-grandchildren. Lovely big private room in this place. Guess where I was sat? With the bloody kids over there. I'm paying for the meal. Well, Peter, I know I'm good with kids. I've been a teacher. I'm a dad. I've been a head teacher. When can I sit at the grown-up table and talk about sex and politics? I'm 51. But I'm good with kids. Well, great. Apparently I'm now good with dogs, especially at night when he needs a walk. Apparently I'm good at decorating. Well, nice try, darling. What do you believe you're good at? Where did that belief come from? Well, you've had a morning of it. Oh, my, you're so good. I don't know why you bother with being here. You're so good. Stay as you are. Go on to Amazon, how great it is here. Invite them over. Because... how about putting some new beliefs in your head, like, I don't eat cakes? What would those new beliefs be for you? We can't erase these beliefs. They're there forever. If I were to play you the first 3 bars of a song from the 70s, you'd all sing it. It's there. It's there. You can't delete beliefs, but you can put new ones in. What would be appropriate new beliefs for this organisation, for this team? A new way of believing about yourselves. It's like, oh, this is nonsense. How many of you try and put beliefs in other people's heads? You'll be fine. Who says? I do. And I'm more important than what you think. How many of you got kids? Oh, you'll love it at Nana's. Go, 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 go. You'll be fine on the bus. How many of you were told by a friend you could do this job? Well, they were wrong, weren't they? No, but how many of them said, go on, apply for it? And you thought, what, me? Apply for that? And you believe them more than you believe yourself. Now, if you're going to go through life saying to other people, go on, you'll be fine, and putting beliefs in their head because you believe you have the power, I really think intellectually and morally you ought to consider doing it for yourself. And considering the idea about creating a future memory by putting new ideas in your own head. You talk about changing people's perceptions of you. That came across several times this morning. What you're saying is we want them to see us differently. So we will have to change their beliefs of us. Interesting, isn't it? So you do believe in this stuff, but how about doing it by intent? You intend to change the beliefs of other people, and you intend to change your own beliefs. I'm never going to wear a tie again. Who believes they can't sing? You haven't got to prove it. Who told you that? Because the first time you made a noise, some of you were young enough for it to have been videoed and sent to Nana. Oh, she's like an angel. She's the new Catherine Jenkins. And he went on, and then one day, probably a teacher, said, not you, Peter. You hold up the maypole. No, you're tall. You be the maypole. And I believe that teacher evermore. I can't sing. And when I am singing, and my wife goes, see, you can, my brain does a Google search. Let me just show you what happens. I've got this belief I can sing. My mum always sings that song, My Old Man's a Dustman, he wears a dustman. Oh, isn't he charming? All right? I was only 14. Anyway, I can sing. Not in the choir, Peter. Oh, you can't sing. Oh, Peter, shut up. No, Peter, don't sing. I go to football, I sing. I sing in the pub later on. I can sing in the kitchen, but I've got these beliefs that I'm not a singer. You say to me, sing now, and I can't sing. Now, what happens in your brain is that you do a Google search, multi-channeling. Can I sing? You scan the web. And you've got all these websites. Oh, yeah, you're a lovely singer. And important people like your mum and your nan said you could sing. Powerfully important people. And one teacher and some friends you think said that you can't sing. I bet you couldn't produce them in court, these people who said you can't sing. But you believe people have said you can't sing, and you've sanctioned their thoughts. You've ignored your nana and your mum. Stuff them. What do they know about alt? And you now believe you can't sing. So then you find yourself in the kitchen, singing away. Someone says, oh no, I'll do a Google search. Oh no, I can't sing. And your brain makes your voice go, ah. You control all that. So if I change what's in my brain, I can change my actions. How many of you can't catch? You haven't got to prove it. My wife can't catch. She keeps saying, I can't catch. So we're playing with our daughter, she's catching. I say, see, you can catch. Next one, she drops the bloody thing. How many of you know a naughty kid? They've had a really good day with you. So you've had a smashing day, and the kid thinks, ooh, now, there's a thought. I think I've got cognitive dissonance. Because I'm a bugger. Everyone tells me I'm a bugger. What time is it? It's 4 o'clock. What time's mum coming? 4:30. Great, I've got half an hour to prove you that I'm a bugger. Interesting. Works with dogs as well. So what happens is that these are like websites. And when you do a belief, you do a Google search, or any other search engine, and you find out which are the most dominant sites, and that's the one you go with. And if a teacher told you, that's like a sponsored website, it comes up top. Or if a loved one. If you were dumped and said it's because of your nose I'm dumping you, you still believe it's your nose. It's not, it's because you were boring. Every time I think, I'm Googling, what do I know about me? And what I know about me has been put in by somebody else. I wasn't born knowing I was good with kids. I was told I was good with kids by somebody who's been devious because they wanted to have a dirty joke. And all your beliefs and all my beliefs, have been put in there by other people. Sometimes intentionally, sometimes unintentionally. And I'm now basing my life upon all those beliefs that I didn't even put in. What about taking control of my life? What about taking control and saying, we're going to choose what we believe about HR? Because some of you believe that actually it's only a service, we're here to serve. No, maybe you're here to lead. Maybe you are the source of the transformation. Oh no, we're just HR. As long as we don't get any complaints, that's okay. It was interesting, I'm not having to go anybody here, but it's like 9 out of 10 customers who recommend you. 9 out of 10 planes land. Ouch. Nana's on the 10th one. But the belief is, 9 out of 10 is good. It's crap in air traffic control, 9 out of 10. So the belief level, they believe in 100%. Thank God. Why don't you? So they believe, 9 out of 10, very good. Oh, market leaders, 9 out of 10. Ooh, ooh, ooh. What about 10 out of 10? What about 11 out of 10? See what I mean? There's a belief that you've got that that's okay. That's not okay. You're better than that. Okay. Have we got the right team here? Now you've come a long way, like the rocket, but if I want to go there, are these the right people? Now, as I said, I'm a West Ham supporter. Somebody has to be. We look at our team and we think, oh God, can we stay up? Or you could be a Chelsea or a Man City and say, we want to get into Europe, you can stay, off you lot go, I'm having you, I'm having you, I'm having you. Some of us have an abundance mentality, like Chelsea, and some of us have a scarcity mentality, like West Ham. How about you? Do you look at yourself and say, well, how far can I get? Or do you say, where do I want to go? What do I need? How about you as a department? Now, I've got to tell you that your managers think you are the right team to achieve the future. And they wouldn't just tell me that, because who the hell am I? That's what they said. And they seem pretty good. They've got great taste. They chose me. So they must be right. I sanction that. I suggest you do as well. But the reason why this car is here, I was using this again up in Leeds a while back, and this guy said it's a bit like when I first got married, Red and Morris Minor. And when it came to the holidays, he said, how far will the car take us? And if you live in Leeds, you can either go to Firely or Blackpool. And when the kids became teenagers, he said, where do you want to go? They said, Florida. He said, great. The car only has to go as far as Leeds Bradford Airport now, because Florida is an aeroplane job. How about your dreams? Your dreams and your aspirations, are they, what does someone like me have the right to dream of? Or have you dreamed large and found the resource to achieve it. I was in the garden centre a while back with my friend Gareth. He got a voucher for his birthday, £25. And we're walking around the garden centre. Sorry, home base. I'll just change the story. Was it being given? That was home base. And he's going around saying, what can I get for 25 quid? He had a scarcity mentality. He had a wallet in his pocket, but he wasn't going to use that. He was going to use his voucher. And we found a pot that didn't have a price on. So we took it up to the desk, and we were queuing. And there was people there with a huge design out. This most amazing garden. It was just incredible. It was like the size of a small country. And the guy says, well, it's this ballpark figure. It's about £50,000 worth. I'm like this. They said, oh, yeah, I know. We're investing our pension pots into it. Now, they were abundance people. This is the garden we want. It's going to cost 50 grand. Gareth's got 25 quid. Can I have a pot? What are you? Are you, we're HR. How far can we get? Or we want to get there. Who do we need to influence? Neither's wrong. Neither's right. But you're now in control of either or both of those two decisions. Do you recognise that guy? Isn't that really stupid? Because I know you don't. But every time I put it, I was like, do you know that guy? Why do we ask stupid questions? I mean, is it just me, or do you do it as well? Do you ask people in stores, do you know how to do it? Well, no, that's why I phoned you. You're HR. Don't you know? I'll give you a clue, because you're I mean, you do know his name's Cliff Young. That helps. It doesn't really. Right, Cliff Young. Anybody here from Australia? Sorry, I know we won the Ashes, but you can still line up. No? Okay, right. Cliff Young's an Australian. There's a race. He's dead now, but he wasn't Australian. Is it still in Australia? Anyway. There's a race between Melbourne and Sydney, which is 600 miles? Or is it 600 kilometres? I'm not sure. No. A long way. And the world's elite runners go in it. Extreme marathon runners. Biannual race. Cliff Young turned up about 10 years ago. How many of you have got your phone switched on to check out what I'm saying? Or do you ever believe that you should switch your phone off when someone's talking? Internet. Why haven't you got your phones on? Why haven't you been ordering stuff from Argos? Anyway, might be more use than listening to me. Cliff Young entered this race aged 62. Turned up wearing dungarees and Wellington boots. It's a true story. Google it on your phones. Not only did he enter, and he's against these world's elite marathon runners, people like Amazon and Next and Marks and Spencer's and Asda. And they all belong to their clubs and societies, and they all get their magazines, and they all have their little websites, and they have their little forums where they talk about the best way of doing it. But he didn't read their books, so he just entered the race. He was a pig farmer, and he was known to do a lot of running. Cliff Young entered the race, and he won. And not only did he win, he won by a day and a half. He was a day and a half ahead of a second place runner. And the reason was he didn't belong to the forums, and he didn't belong to the websites. He didn't know you were supposed to sleep. Apparently in long distance running, you run 18 hours and you sleep 6. No one told him. He just kept running. When he crossed the finish line, he had a kip. Now the problem is that you guys no doubt belong to associations and societies. No doubt you read magazines and you go to CPD conferences and HR and all those sorts of things. That's the problem. You all agree on running 8 hours and sleeping 6. If you really, really let your imaginations run wild, who would you ask for help? If your daughter was poorly, where would you go for help? Anywhere. I want you to consider the value of dreaming big, being burlesque, being bizarre. Why are you only raising £2 million for cancer? And this is the deal. If I had lost my wallet and I had to get back up to Harrogate, I would say, can we rustle out some cash? If I made a compelling case, you'd dig out 50p here, 20p there, £1 there, just to get shot with me. And we can make 80 quid for the fare easily by looking in the usual places. If I said I need £4 million by 4 o'clock, allowing for 1 or 2 of you on bonuses, there wouldn't be a lot of point in looking in your purses or in your wallets or even in the car. But if you thought about equity you had in your house, aunties with ISAs, stuff in the attic you could put on eBay, we could raise it dead easy. When you have a bonkers dream, your mind opens up to find any way of achieving it. So when we ask you for £2 million, you say things like, have a tabletop sale. If you wanted £20 million by May, would you be saying tabletop sale? And I want you to start thinking about how big a dream can we go for in order to open up that brain and make stuff come in.